What's up, everyone? And welcome back to Convicted, where we focus on all issues relating to incarcerated people and those who are and have been impacted by the system. Today, we're going to discuss some of the dynamics of establishing bonds with other incarcerated people while serving time together, some of the pitfalls and benefits of doing so, as well as to highlight one relationship in particular that I myself was able to forge with a man I met here, who I can honestly say has become a great friend of mine. This particular guy has served 25 years inside the California state prison system until he was granted parole after making necessary changes in his life. I'm pleased to have him in my corner through my personal growth and excited to have him here with us today to help us provide some insight about the process and why it's important to overall health of society. Matthew Conan, thank you for being here, brother.
Man, it's a pleasure to be here, bro. You know I love you, and it's amazing that we even have this moment and this technology to do what we're doing right here to really expose some of the things that need to be put on the front line that are kind of swept under the rug. But anyway, good to be with you, bro.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. So what I try to do is I try to bring awareness to certain little things that may give people insight and show them some of the nuances that go on inside the prison yards and how it affects our people on the outside.
Right.
It's important to talk about this right now because you and me were here together on the inside, and now you're out there and I'm still in here. So
Right.
do me a favor so we can just lay some context. Tell me a little bit about how you came into the system and how your initial incarceration started.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a long story, but in a nutshell, I had some identity issues like growing up, and really being able to find out and understand who I am or who I was created to be, I should say. I grasped on and gravitated towards a lot of negative stereotypes and images, and eventually I had a propensity
Yeah,
for that type of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like thug life, drinking, partying, crime and things of that nature. But eventually, because my inability to really hone in on what it was and lock down what I needed to do. By the age of 19, I was the type of person that was capable of pulling a gun and shooting somebody, and that's what I did. And so at the age of 19, I was convicted of murder. Went to trial. I was sentenced to 20 years to life in prison for second degree murder. It was 15 to life, 5 for the gun. It was like a month after my 19th birthday. But as I tell the story, I also want to say I'd like to put an asterisk on my voice and say there is a victim here. So as I tell this story, I'm not being pitiful towards myself. I'm gonna be raw with what I share, but
right,
there's a real victim and a real family on the other side that took a loss. So God
right.
God bless them.
Yeah, I totally understand that. So let me cut you off real quick.
Sure.
So when you say 20 to life, for people that don't understand that, what exactly does that mean, and how did that work at the time when you first came in, as opposed to how it works now?
Well, at the time, 20 to life, anything with a life sentence at the time, 1992, was pretty much meant life without at the time, for the political climate that it was. This is all around the era when Pete Wilson was there, and Gray Davis, and they expanded the prison system. So there was a real, if we're keeping it honest, there was a real motive and incentive behind certain sentences, and not necessarily mine because I did do what I do. I did do what I did, and I took a life. But overall, it was a period of
Right,
3 strikes where dudes were getting locked up for the stealing a Snicker bar and a pizza and a lawnmower or something. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And getting life sentences.
right,
So that was the climate that I was in. And so at the time, it was like when I hit the yard there, I had already adopted and resigned to the fact that this is where I'm gonna die. You know what I'm saying? And so that mentality alone, without any type of proper introduction. I mean, think about how we came into prison. I know I'm kind of getting long winded with this answer,
right.
Mike, but think about how we came into
It's
prison.
okay.
It wasn't no introduction like, okay, you're on prison. We have this class for you. Let's figure out why you did what you did. Let's dig deep. Let's while everything's fresh, let's figure it out. Instead, it was like, here's a
Right,
basketball. Go play ball. You know what I'm
right.
saying? There was no
Ah,
program. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, even in some cases, it was like, here's a knife,
Well, yeah,
or
yeah,
here are these, you
right.
know what I'm saying? So a basketball and a knife, choose one or the other, right?
Yeah, no,
Or both.
I totally get it. And I was the conversation I was steering
This
towards
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
was more towards the administration, that there's not these institutions of education and rehabilitation in place at the time, and speaking on the convict side that you were referring to, oh man, yeah, homie's gonna hand you a knife, some weed, some drink, you, you gonna get it in,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So that, I mean, that was the climate.
Well, the administration isn't doing it directly, but they might as well because they know exactly what the pulse was on the yards at that time.
Well,
So
yeah,
here it is. You
yeah,
come in to the prison system with the mentality that they just sentenced you to a lifetime in prison, and mostly everybody around us at that time was under the same kind of oppression when they had that
yeah,
sentence. So it made it, a real difficult place to live at times. Very stressful, a lot of negativity going around, and it made it hard to trust. And and one of the way that you earn trust and respect from other convicts,
uh-huh.
what we referred to at that time, was to do some, unimaginable things. Like, what were some of the things that you did to feel comfortable in your surroundings, man, to feel accepted?
Oh man, I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, this didn't only
Please do.
right. This didn't only transpire in prison. I mean, the very thing that you're talking about, the things that I would do to be accepted and to fit in and to feel like I had some validation amongst my peers. I mean, it was endless, and it started, at the age 11, 12, 13, and transcended into the prison sentence that I got and the culture that prison is. And so, I already knew from being on the streets that, getting high and drinking was a coping mechanism for me, and busting somebody in their chops was a defense mechanism. So that's what worked for me on the streets.
Mhm.
That's what landed me in prison. So that's the same thing I'm gonna apply while I'm pushing on these level 4 yards. So, you know, there was a
Right.
lot of times I was I overcompensated my masculinity, my bravado, and maxed people out in fights and different situations that didn't have to go that far, but that's what I was willing to do to be that guy or to be accepted or to be feared and respected. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. And that type of behavior, it causes the administration to react, and they do things like write you up, give you 115. They also send you to the hole, which is another part of the jail, which has less programs. You're,
Right.
you're constantly handcuffed and things to get escorted to the showers or anywhere outside of yourself. For that fact,
Right.
even when they take you to the yard, they escort you to the little cages. And
That's what we
with
call the
that being
jail
said,
inside the jail, right?
right,
Right.
the prison inside the prison,
Right.
and coincidentally, that's where we met.
Right. Right. I
Right, so both of us at the time were kind of doing the same thing, and we were strayed so far off of the center of our path that we were still doing the things that were pretty much accepted and expected of us at that level in our life.
well,
So
I'm
we ended up meeting each other in the hole, man, and that was a really like a big thing for us, man.
it,
How do you remember that?
no, I mean, I remember it.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I mean, I remember it vividly and clearly. We've talked many a time. So, but for the listeners, this is a new conversation here, and me and you chop it up. But I mean, if we think about all the times that we used to talk when we were together about the
Yeah.
character of an individual and the reputation that follows them, their track record, so to speak. And when I met you, bro, like it was an instant connection off the top, but
Right.
you were of that caliber, for lack of better words, of the social structure of the type of individual that I would seek to be around because you were a righteous convict. You know what I mean? you
Right.
know, and
Right.
so
Right.
I mean
Yeah.
it was a hard time. For those that don't know, the whole is called ADSEG or administ administrative segregation.
Administrative
Whew.
segregation.
Thank you, bro. I got a lot of gaps in my teeth. I can't talk right. So,
Right.
but anyway,
Right.
I mean, that's where you go. It's like a punitive housing place. And It's down, it's depressive, it's suppressive, oppressive, all that stuff, depressing. But we met there, and together we, without sounding corny, we were a light to each other. You know what I mean? Like you had a strength that you
Yeah.
carried and a personality that was mimetic of mine. It was similar, bro, and we just bonded. Kind of like dudes do in war when you watch them old platoon movies and Vietnam movies. Like they're facing life and death, and two strangers become bros in the midst of an enemy that's
Yeah.
bigger than both of them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And in our enemy, we were facing an enemy that was internal and external.
Right.
And I believe that when we were able to connect in that environment at that time, that we were able to find that common ground and see the most important element to me in establishing a bond between people is integrity.
Right.
So because
Right.
you hear about the type of individuals that walk on the yard, and you immediately think of some of the lowest of the low. You and I both know that that's not necessarily true, but there are a lot of unsavory types walking around
Right.
prison yards looking for a way to come up off the next person.
On a
A
real.
lot of a lot of the relationships are established out of obligation to geographical locations, gangs, things of that nature, race. But in a lot of cases,
You have 60 seconds remaining.
you don't really develop like a true bond. But
Right.
when we connected with each other, we were able to do that because the very first thing we were able to notice about each other was there was some integrity
Amen, bro.
that was involved.
Yeah.
You know? And then we ended up becoming cellies in the hole, and then we got out later
Right.
on, and we reunited out of the hole. The same shenanigans. We met our people. In fact, she met your beautiful wife when I got out
Right.
of the hole and connected with you the last time. It was like 2009, right?
Mine was 2008. Yeah. When I met her. When
Okay,
I
a
met
little
Momo.
bit before that, right? It's all right. So I'm gonna call that back.
All right, bet. Stay tuned after the show for a special broadcast of my song, Friend God.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello?
So we can go.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
there?
Go ahead, kick it off, bro. Let's go.
Okay. So yeah, and then you met your beautiful wife, who shouts out to Mo, wonderful woman,
Shouts
stayed
out
down
to
with you the whole
Momo.
time.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Mo, man. She's incredible, man. I love her.
Straight up.
We were starting to grow. We're starting to grow as people too. And I think at that point we had been down like 15 years or close to that.
Right.
You know, you were a little bit longer than me at that time, and we started to figure things out. So we got separated, and then you made some changes in your life, man. Why don't you give us a little bit of insight about that?
Well, it's a trip, bro, because and what you said is real. It's a trip because as I met Momo, it was different than any other relationship that I had before. And because of that,
Right.
it truly gave me some hope. You know what I'm saying? Like for the longest time, like
Yes.
think about all the conversations we had, bro. Like none of them were talking about being married. None of them was talking about getting out of prison. It was how can we do this and that, you know what I'm saying, and survive in
Right.
there. And for the first time,
That's right.
and like you said, in 15 years, bro, I started thinking like, man, what if I had a wife, or what if I possibly could get out? Like that was the first time I
That's
had
right.
hope, and it makes me think back. If I can draw back to what you said before about when we were talking about our bond and how there's integrity and how you got to watch out because some people are just shisty, and that kind of goes back to that, because even though we had integrity to amongst each other, to other people we were shisty because we didn't have hope.
Yeah.
And we victimized other people, and we took advantage and cut corners and did all that stuff. And so that
Yeah.
goes back even further to the systemic problem that the prison system is. The way that it's set up is to continue and perpetuate this not even a stereotype, this violence that we're entrenched in. You know what I'm saying? But we
Right.
can talk about that later. But to bring it back up to where we were at, Mo came, and then there was a lot of hope. And I started soul searching. During my last trip to the hole, I was sitting in there and I wrote my mom a letter. I need some stamps. I need some monies, envelopes, blah blah blah. And she wrote me back 2 weeks later, whatever it was, sent the money stamps. But she was like, "Bro, what else can we do? Like we visit you. We've always been there from the trial to this. We packages. We accept calls." And I always say I don't know why some people can stick their hand in the fire and it burns and they're like, okay, that fire is no good. And they learn their lesson and go on. But for me, it was like my whole life has been putting my hand in the fire and then I tried to put my elbow, then my foot. It was like I was trying to find a way to make it through this fire without
Right.
getting burned. And it just wasn't happening. My life and was a reflection of that because I was serving life. I was in and out the hole, in and out the shoe. You know what I mean? But so that light went off in between having Momo and having a glimpse of hope. And then my mom really dropping this bomb on me. I came out the hole and I was like, I need to soul search, bro. And I went into the church. We had been separated. I forget where you were during that time, but we had been separated and the word just made sense to me, man. I went to the Christian chapel and I saw the fruits of the spirit on the people, even though I couldn't define it as that at the time. I now know that's what it was. And it pulled on me and the Lord drew me close and I started to try to fix my ways. I wasn't perfect, so I ain't trying to say it like that. I was still blowing and you know what I'm saying, doing my
Right.
thing and using cell phones. But the process of sanctification was sparked there and a real seed had planted on some rich soil. And this was the first time like my
Right.
my life was redirected, you know what I mean?
Right. If we reunited, I definitely saw that. I remember there was a couple moments that solidified that you were trying to do this the right way. And
Right.
I'll let you talk about that because that's something you bring up, and I love that you can say it as articulately as you can. But so go on to give it to him.
Man, well, praise God on that.
This
No,
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
no, but yeah, so I the dates and times is a little bit fuzzy in my head, but I mean we reunited. I think it might have been Calipat, bro. Was it?
No, 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 no. We reunited in
That's where the ride was at, right?
Calipat first.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes, Calipat first, indeed.
So yeah, we touched down at Calipat, the 4 yard, and nah. By then I was in the church. I was trying to walk with the Lord and whatnot, and then you pulled up, and it been a minute, and so like I wasn't really sure. I mean we stayed in touch, but not like close touch during this moment. And so like when you pushed up, I to be honest, I was like almost nervous of like what you would think of my who I was now, who I was trying to be. And
Right.
and I remember you pushing up like, bro, I heard you was a Christian now, bro. And I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, and you were like, MC, like for real, like you really believe it, like you trying to walk this thing out. And I was like, hey, Mike, for real, bro. And I remember you said walk with me, and we just walked around the track and sometimes in prison, for those of you that know, that walk around the track could be a setup or it could be, it could be what it is. But so like
Right, right.
but we done had a major bond, man, major integrity, and your response, I'll never forget it, bro, because that's when I really knew that you loved me thick and thin, and it was more than anything prison was or any politics. You were like, bro, if that's what you believe, man, I got you, bro, and
That's right.
it always meant it meant everything to me, man. And so, no, with that
That's
said,
right.
I kept pressing forward, and I mean, I don't know where to go from there. You got you got another question for me?
Shit, they let you go. That's
Yeah,
where we're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
go. But around 2012, with the help of a lot of prison advocates, they created SB 260 and 261. And for people that don't know what that means, it's giving youthful factors some attention when you're going to a board or a prison board hearing, and it helped to give guys that were lifers that were changing their life a chance to redeem themselves, man, and showcase their change and their growth
Right.
and get a second chance at going home. And
Right.
this is what happened to you.
It is,
So when
man.
did this happen, man? How did this happen for you?
It is, and much kudos, applause, whatever you want to call it, to the people that recognize that was a necessary thing to look at, to really check at somebody's the hallmarks of somebody's youth, like the inability to think long term, the impulsive
Right.
responses, the situational pressures, peer pressure, etc. So like props to them. But so the blessing in my story is this is that 260 came out, did you say 2012?
I think it was around that time, right?
I forget the time, but the thing about my story is when I made my change, I ended up eventually walking 10 years off without, getting in any trouble. And it was like from full trouble to no trouble when I started walking with the Lord.
Amen.
And so the blessings, you're right. The blessings with that is that, I was in this mind state where I started going, where they started actually, the prison did, I got to give them little credit that they did start implementing some self-help classes and making things available. And I started going to these things. But just with that said, there's so much more work to be done. But I started going to those things,
Right.
and so speeding it up. By the time 260 came out, the Youth Offender Act, I'd already had a clean record and some certificates under my belt. But 260 didn't affect me because I was 19 when I caught my case, and 260 affected 18 and under. And so, but I just kept plugging along, bro. It was like if I was gonna make this lifestyle a change and really be who I wanted to be and chase some of this new hope that I found in God and in my wife and these dreams of possibly being free, I'd had to do it for myself. I had to do it because it was something authentic, not because I was doing it for the board, but I was doing it because that's who I wanted to be. And that was the blessing because then 3 years later, give or take, 261 came out and it went from age 25 and down. So now when I went to the board, they had to consider the hallmarks of my youth. And I was admittedly, bro, very immature. I was a kid almost until I was 36, homie. You know what I'm saying? For all intents.
I'm gonna say a little bit later than that, bro.
Bro, come on, man. Give me a little credit. Right? Oh, so we shooting at each other on this podcast, huh? All right.
Yes, sir.
Right. No, but that's how it happened. And by the glory of God, bro, all credit to him and those that loved on me, you, my wife, all the good people in my life. I went to the board in 2017 and they found me suitable for parole. And I hit the ground running, bro.
Man.
I did.
Man, that's beautiful, man. You've been out there ever since showing out, man. I've kept in contact with you this whole time, and I've noticed the important work that you've done. I would like to touch on that a little bit. You've made a big impact on people, and you're continuing to do that, including myself, because your example back then helped me to start making some adjustments and realizing, just because a life without meant that I couldn't go to board, that I still was living a life that wasn't like necessarily manageable, and that I needed to make some adjustments, man, and start, taking responsibility for the way I was living and try to figure it out for not only me, but the people around me and my family and my people, and including you, because I had to also be, cognizant of the fact that you were trying to get out, and I had to be careful how to move, around you without, dragging you into something like the riot that we had in Calipat. You know what I mean? But you ended up getting out, man, and some things went on in your life out there. You became a part of the ARC Hope and Redemption team, correct?
Right, definitely. Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, so yeah, I came out the ground. I came out the gates, knowing that the same behavior and preparation that I put in to become, a decent man. None is good but God, but to become a decent man and prepare myself for the eventuality that I might get freed. I mean, it paid off. And when I got my date, I knew the same things that got me out of prison was the same thing that's going to keep me out of prison. And so, I hit the training center.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
I hit the training center with in San Diego with Dennis Martinez and Larry Johnson, and it was a faith-based halfway house, and just really he groomed me, bro. Like this is the importance of I want to keep reaching back to it because that's the importance of having a structure that isn't bent on security. Like that's the problem with the California prison system. They create an environment where it's like security is the only thing that matters. Well, it's the only thing that matters because you're creating an environment that's conducive to violence happening all the time because there's nothing else to do. You know what I'm saying? And so like the beautiful thing is I had people that I touched down with that, understood that and knew what needed to be poured into me for me to be successful. And Dennis Martinez taught me how to get back into the prisons, and so I could give hope to other people. And we did gun buybacks and food drives and just was active in the community. And eventually I met David Amaya with the Hope and Redemption team with ARC, and I ended up applying for a job, and
Right.
I became one of 9 lifers that would go back into California state prisons, the very yards that we used to, walk on and war on and whatnot, and teach character development classes and help dudes prepare themselves to become men, to be ready for the board. And yeah, it was awesome. Character development, things of that nature. But eventually,
And I'm sitting here quiet because this is some amazing stuff, man.
I don't miss
some of
that,
the
bro.
peers
I don't
down.
miss that. I'm
Man,
sorry.
you heard me? It's here. I had to cover the mic.
Right.
Right. So I remember, actually attending a couple of these classes. You weren't in this one. You were down at a different prison, but you had some of your peers like Jamel and Caesar.
Jamel
And
Carter.
I attended some of their classes and graduated. Right. Jamel
Right.
Carter, good
Caesar
dude, man.
Zuniga.
But these are dudes that were locked. They were locked up with us, man, and
Right.
you were locked up with us, and you got freed, but you took the time out to come back in and try to like reach back and grab some of us and show us the way out the door too.
Well,
But
bro,
why do you think, man, like this is important though? Like, because people have these real negative outlook when it comes to prison and prisoners and
You have 60 seconds remaining.
and all the things that we've heard and went through when it comes to that. But there's another side of the story, and the side of the story is that the communities will and can benefit from us being released. But how do you articulate that? How do you let them know that this is the right thing for society?
okay. Well, as soon as you call back, I'll answer. It's so important for us to stay involved and hold our justice system accountable. We need your help. There are many ways you can support us. Click the link below to sign the petition to help people like Etienne who are on the path to redemption.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hey, give me a brief rundown of what the question was again, bro.
Okay, the question was, why is it important? Why is these programs and the negativity that people outlook of people that see us in prison and us getting free, and how that misconception is leading to a lot of pushback? Why is it important? Like, why do we need for these programs to succeed? Why is it important for you to come reach back and help those that are getting free a chance to get in the community? Why is that important?
I mean, it's important on a multitude of levels. One like that would be easily obvious would be like when I pushed into certain prisons, into Corcoran, Delano, all these other spots as a part of the Heart team, I would see dudes that I knew, but they would double take because I'm wearing street clothes. Like, everybody don't know that you came home. Like, there's people that you just lose contact
Right.
with. But dudes that I would see, they would look, double take, and be like, bro, what? I'm like, yeah, you can get free too, homie. We can do this.
Right.
And it's cool because, they gave it a title. It's called Accredited Mentor. And they call it that because it's somebody that just didn't read a book or went to school about it, but somebody that actually experienced what you're going through. And there's a whole nother authenticity to that. And it's, I don't know, it's just amazing because like I had 3 dudes from 3 different prisons that totally didn't know each other, unrelated. When they saw me, and after we talked and I was able to do a class with them for the first time, they came up and said, bro, you're hope in the flesh. Now, how deep is that, bro?
Man.
How deep is
Right.
that? You know what I'm saying? And so,
Man.
I mean,
Hope in the
I know.
flesh.
Go ahead, Mike.
Hope in the flesh.
Hope in the flesh, like verbatim, like that's what they said. I was like, wow, if that ain't confirmation that this lane need to be filled and that more stuff like this needs to transpire for real change to take place, then I don't know what is. Because again, it goes back to if you have nothing to do, like you come on a yard and the only thing out there is a basketball or a handball for you to smack at with your hand, you know what I'm saying? Eventually,
Right.
you're not going to use your mind for much, unless you self will yourself to learn. And that's something that drastically needs to change from the intro to prison all the way to the exit and the halfway homes and people getting out. Because for us to think as a society that people aren't redeemable, that we have these disposable people whose lives don't matter because life drew them a hand where they were challenged and made a bad decision or were pressured in, or maybe they were just bad themselves, but they were bad for a reason. You know what I mean? And for us to think
Right.
that and give these crazy life without sentences or double life without, you got to die and come back type sentence, like, come on, man. It has to be bigger than that. And let's put it out there, man. The system that is in place is designed to prolong this behavior, and not every CO. I've met a lot of good COs and correctional officers and people along the way that I can honestly say that, it was their job. Like the problem was bigger than them, but as a whole, the system is made to create this violence, this unrest, and we see the results of it. And so there has to be this shift.
Yeah.
There has to be a change. There has to be this thing where we give people a chance to show who they are and who they become. Because, any given
Yes.
person, man, we could say TD Jakes or whoever your favorite pastor is or president or whoever it is. But if we had an opportunity to get a glimpse of them on their worst day, their worst decision, what would we think of them then? All these people we hold on a
That's right.
pedestal and all these Hollywood actors, how would we view them if they were like us, the caught? And that's the only
Right.
difference. So,
Right.
so I mean, there has to be a change, man. And we're going to start it right here with you, bro. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Amen.
It's a crazy thing, man, because I made it down to a level 2. Well, I mean, people might not understand what that means, the
Congrats,
significance
homie.
of that, but you and I started on a level 4 maximum security 180 design prison and went down to a 270 level 4, then to a level 3, then to a 2. And it's dorm living, y'all. I was in a cell for like 27 years.
Hey.
It's a culture shock, but it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect, because people are right here all the time. There's no privacy, and you're getting an opportunity to see different things and create relationships on a different level.
Right.
And I'm seeing some beautiful things happening on these yards, man.
And bro, I know I keep
a lot.
I know I keep cutting you off, but I just want to clarify what I was laughing at, because I don't want anybody to think that's funny. I was laughing because I was actually grateful I didn't get to experience any dorm living, because that's a bit much. Like,
right, you missed that.
Yeah, I did all mine on level 4 in the last 6 months of 3.
Right.
So like, I can't imagine. But bro,
well, look,
I know I cut you off, but
just for the record,
yeah,
look, it's for the record, Matt. It's way better than I thought, and the reason is because I was actually tired of being behind a locked door, having to go into the cell every day and have them lock me in. So having the ability just to get up in the middle of the night, put my shoes on, and walk halfway down the chair just to use the bathroom.
Never thought of that. That's deep, bro.
But
I never thought of that.
It's different. It's a little taste of freedom, and it really shines out. It's not a freedom, but it is a little taste of it compared to being locked in a cell. But I said that to say there's some real beautiful things happening on this yard. Real great people who are making incredible strides, man. And most of the dudes that I run across have the same sentence I do. So there's no outward incentive for us to do these things other than just a pure desire to do the right thing, man. Amen. And we will talk about that and address that at a later date, and hopefully you'll come back and talk about it with me.
For sure.
But I wanted to just touch on one thing before we get ready to wrap it up. You are out there way out in the Midwest somewhere now.
Hey,
you don't live in
Cali. Respect my new state, man. Respect.
You feel me? So please, man, like tell the people about Hog Mob, man. Like this is really important too, because you're still.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Yeah, nah. And thank you for giving me a moment for that because Hog Mob is the ministry
Yeah.
I'm a part of, and it means everything to me. It's part of my life daily, hourly. Same with my wife, and so Hog Mob is a ministry that's called Hog, obviously Hog Mob Ministry. It's HOGMOB. It's hooked on God ministry over business.
Mm-hmm.
Seven started this ministry some 20 years ago, and I'm happy to be a part of it. But yeah, we settled some roots out here in Kansas, and we're just building and loving on our community. I've been blessed to be put in a
That's right.
position of leadership to be a life coach, a youth leader. Just a mentor, man, trying to be a pillar in the community. Got great relationships with the police, the mayors, the city council, the thankfully a lot of the businesses out here. I work for a radio station out here, so I'm account executive and I'm able to meet everybody. So there's like tons of opportunity for me to minister and really have my ear to the street and have the heartbeat of what's going on in this city. So I mean, I do this in my home city, praise God. But it's also I'm able to travel and go to different prisons with different ministries, different groups, and I still go inside and do concerts and music and all that stuff. And I'd say none of this to brag, but I say all of this to give God the glory, man, that He opened up these doors that no man can close and no man could have opened. Like it's only by His grace I'm able to go back in and kind of share that you know, change is real. If given the opportunity, the average person can change. If you give them the incentive to learn something new and to get outside of whatever box it is that's confining them, most people can make something really great and special of their life. And for those that are behind the
That's right.
walls, like I was, that's what I'm here for. Because we can't
That's
judge
right.
the 17-year-old as the 17-year-old when he's almost 50 now. Like, where's the
That's
logic
right.
in any of that thinking? And so we have to, on an independent basis, start judging some of these people and what kind of merits they have. Because I was in a yard similar to yours, bro, where we created this fake mock hearing for the board. We ran our own classes. We would meet on the yard on our own time and own dime, so to speak. You know what I mean? And that's the same environment. If I understand what you said, that you're living in right now, where you got a bunch of life withouters
Right.
on a level two that are pouring into each other, regardless of the fact that they can't see the finish line, regardless of the
That's
fact
right.
that there's no light, so to speak, at the end of the tunnel in terms of the judicial system. And so, yeah, man. I know I get long winded, but I'm passionate, so I'm sorry if I'm speaking too much, homie.
Hey, bro, we don't have enough. We don't have enough time to talk about everything that needs to be addressed. We're gonna try to get as much of it as we can,
For
even
sure.
if it takes us years. I don't care. I'm ready to put this out there and it needs to be heard, man. So
On the real.
you got people in here, and now people out there are using you as a shining example of how things are supposed to go and how detrimental it is to keep guys like you locked in prison. Shout out to all the people that seen it in you to let you go
Amen.
and give you the opportunity for that, man. Because you even if you just help one person, that's one more person or one less person that's going to be up in here with us, man.
Right.
And I applaud you for that, man. I appreciate that. You're my brother, man, and I love you, man.
For
I'm
sure.
proud of
We
you.
family.
I'm happy that you're on this path. I'm honored that you're still in my corner.
For sure.
And with that, man, I'm gonna let you just go on and wrap it up, man, and give the people something, man, to think about before I close out
All right,
and move
yeah.
on to the next thing, man.
Well, most definitely, man. They say it's easier to raise a child right than it is to fix a broken man. And we failed
Yeah,
as a society in that. Like we've become so distant
yeah,
that, there's people when I was living in Cali that there were some neighbors I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And when you look up to say good
yeah.
morning, they look down. And we've all just become
Right,
so isolated and desensitized. But if we can get back to some of the stuff where you see something, you say something, and I'm not talking about the governmental slang that was like during terrorism. I'm saying like if you see a youngster acting up, man, pull his coattail, man. Like say something to him, like and this
right,
and these simple acts like this will transcend into society as a whole helping each other, healing each other. And it might sound corny, but this is what it takes. And then eventually that will change some of the laws. That will change some of the things that cause people to break these laws, you know? And so it's going to take a big effort, man. But I mean, when it comes down to it, man, it's hard, bro, because I'm out here and you're in there and I know who you are.
Right.
You know, and it's like trying to convince somebody that has their mind made up that, you know, the sky is blue when they're just convinced that it's red. And like, no matter what you tell them, they don't understand that it's different. It's not what you think it is. And that's how it is when it comes to you and many other people that are serving life without sentences. And again, like you'll definitely have to tell your story the way you tell it. But some people are, despite the fact they did what they did to get in there, you know, there has to be a chance for redemption. And your case is different in a lot of ways that you'll explain later. But my point is that there has to be something. This model that we're using, it isn't working, man. And we're watching good people that made changes die slowly with a slow death life sentence. And it's repulsive, man. You know, if somebody is continuing,
the cycle,
yeah,
the cycle needs to be closed, man. And they're making moves, albeit slow, by letting guys like you out of here. Hopefully that some of these little bills start to help or get home that are willing and ready to do the right thing.
Right.
You have 60 seconds remaining. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Hey, bro, they gonna hang up, man. Do you mind if I end it real quick?
Yeah, do your thing.
Well, first and foremost, I'm trying to be super quick, man. I love you. I'm proud of the steps you make. I know how hard it is to change in there when the system isn't changing along with you. When all the politics speak otherwise than the direction you're trying to go, bro. And you're pressing against the grain, but you're doing it, homie. And that's why I love you, because you showed that integrity. You showed it on the wrong side, and when you learned what was right, you're showing it on this side, bro. So just keep pushing, and we're gonna get you out someday, somehow, some way. So just keep pressing. And God bless you, Mike. Be the light that you created to be, man. You're a superstar, homie. On me.
Thank you, bro. I love you too. And remember, man, that we represent Convicted and we spoke with conviction. Solidarity.
I love it. Just keep it mobbing, man. God bless.
Yeah. I see the way y'all looking at me. I see the way y'all looking. Y'all don't understand the new me. But the funny thing is I understand you. I've been down that road, bro. Yeah. How twisted could you have me? This walk is real, I'm a Christian. Would I die for my beliefs? Yeah, gladly. I die daily to my flesh as I strive to finish the race strong as I press towards the prize. I see it in your eyes. I pray for you dudes that are hostile to the gospel. It just mean good news. Y'all be acting like I'm putting something foul on your plate. You so caught up in this fame, I'm just trying to give you faith. Your voice peppered with the words, so when you haters throw salt, well, I'm the salt of the earth, so that's love by default. Thank you. Now they talking when I flow. I look mad cause I'm serious about my faith. I'ma ride for my dad. Our Father lays me proper. Prepare me for their wrath. They hated Christ first. I hope they hate me last. I ain't worried about my ops cause I don't see them as enemies. We all gon' face the book. You ain't gotta friend me. Friend God. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hoping that their hate can change my situation. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hating and they hoping that their hate can change my situation. But you can't change me. You can't change me. So keep hating, keep waiting. Nah, go away, not today, Satan. I bet you hit your home call me up. Tell him you need a burner. He probably give you two and drive you to the murder. But tell him you want knowledge. Tell him you have dreams that are bigger than the block. He probably laugh and say you're weak. See, I'm here to let you know, boy, you were created by design. So always do your best. That's what you owe, boy. Your real homeboy, he gon' wanna see you grow. He gon' help you find a way. He gon' plow where you sow. But them fake boys, they gon' plot and politic. They gon' scheme till they find a way to put you in the mix. I know. Cause I used to be that guy. Push your buttons, press the issue, then laugh at your demise. The chessboard is out. Your time is steady ticking. Will you be a part of the Great Commission or be a victim? Ain't no other choices. These your options. Hell's a trap door and it's dropping. Friend God. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hoping that their hate can change my situation. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hating and they hoping that their hate can change my situation. But you can't change me. You can't change me. So keep hating, keep waiting. Nah, go away, not today, Satan. If everybody keeps it real, then ain't nobody honest. In the midst of your storm, do you return to your vomit? When that thorn get to sticking, do you lean on his promise? Do you have faith in his word, or is you a doubting Thomas? I'm as human as the next, but I believe in it to find. You can fall a million times, long as you keep trying. Ain't nobody perfect, but we all have a purpose, and purpose is picture perfect when you live a life of surface. I crawled out the belly of the beast, boy, I battled hard. Mama said, never trust a man without no battle scars. Every scar tells a story, a testament. I hope your wounds are life lessons necessary for your growth. That's why I lift that banner. Heat away the truth to life, just like you bang for your set, bruh. I bang for what's right. I ain't worried about my ops, I don't see them as enemies. We all gon' face the book. You ain't gotta friend me, friend God. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hoping that their hate can change my situation. Yeah, they hating and they waiting, hating and they hoping that their hate can change my situation. But you can't change me. You can't change me. So keep hating, keep waiting. Nah, go away, not today, Satan. So keep hating, keep waiting. Nah, so go away, not today, Satan.